advised 11 presidents. What do you think the best advice you gave to them was?
What was the best advice I gave a president? I, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I would say now. Uh, I've, you know, mainly, and most of the time, the president and the government has various projects. I try to advise them on how to do it best, or whether or not it's really good, and whether it's going to work, and so on. I suppose one of the most interesting things to most people, and to myself, was not advice to the president directly, but to NASA. I was asked by a friend of mine to form a committee to advise on the Apollo landing. So I organized a group of scientists to advise on the Apollo landing, and many of my friends thought it wasn't going to work. Many famous scientists thought it wasn't going to work, and they told me, and one of them, I was at MIT then, and the person who was chairman of the board of MIT, very famous engineer, he said, "Oh, that's not going to work. You're completely crazy to do that, Charlie. You shouldn't do it." And so, well, no, I felt, well, the government was kind of committed to it, and I should try to advise them how to make it work best as well as possible. So we did, and it came in on time and under budget, which is very rare for a government project, on time and under budget. The first landing on the moon, and it was very important for the United States. It helped the United States internationally enormously. It wasn't a secret thing. Everybody knew about it, and everybody kind of enjoyed hearing about it and participating. And so landing on the moon, that's kind of an obvious thing and interesting.
Which of the presidents that you've met seemed most interested in science?
Some of them paid much more attention than others. I wouldn't say any of them were especially interested in science per se, but some of them paid more attention than others. Now, Eisenhower paid a good deal of attention, and Kennedy paid a good deal of attention to science. Nixon didn't so much, and he kind of eventually canceled the Science Advisory Committee even. But most of the presidents were willing to listen. Some listened more carefully than others, and supported science better than others. And Eisenhower and Kennedy, I would say, were two good ones. Johnson was pretty much okay also.
What kind of scientific advice would you give to our new president, Barack Obama?
What advice would I give to him?
Yes.
Well, he's got good people to advise him now. Steve Chu from University has gone as head of energy there and so on, and he's got good people to advise. I think I would advise him to reinstate a science advisory committee for the presidency. We used to have this advisory committee that met in the White House. We'd get together about once a month, meet in the White House. We would study separately the various issues, and then the president generally would meet with us a little bit of time at every meeting, so we could talk with him and discuss things. And I think having a science advisory committee with important scientists from a lot of different disciplines and from all over the country advising him is good. In addition, he's got very good administrators who are good scientists and know things. I think he's picked good people. So I think the government's science efforts will probably work out reasonably well. I think Obama will recognize that need, but I think it would be a good thing for him to have a President's Science Advisory Committee as the presidents used to have some time ago.
The biggest laser in the world is being built at Lawrence Livermore National Lab.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any work on this project or give any advice?
Well, they've talked with me about it some, but I have not worked on it very directly. I've just talked with them casually about it. I was out, they asked me to come out and visit just recently. I was out there and saw it. A very impressive thing. It's 7 stories high, enormous big laser, and it will have a pulse of power. It'll be more power than all the power in the rest of the world, and highly concentrated, enormously high energy. It'll be very interesting. Now, how well it will pay off is another question. I think they can make it work in the sense that what they're trying to do is make fusion, do fusion. Fuse hydrogen atoms together so they produce energy. I think they can do that. Whether it'll be economical is another question. I'm somewhat doubtful, but maybe. If it were to work and become useful economically, I'd be delighted. But whether it will, I don't know. But they're going to test it out and explore it and see.
Alright, could you explain a little more what they are planning to use this laser for?
Well, they concentrate a lot of power in a very small area, and they will have hydrogen atoms there, and the concentration, the pressure, the temperature, and the energy will be so high, the hydrogen atoms will get together and fuse and make heavier nuclei, and give up energy as they do that. So they can make them, press them together and make them unite and give up energy. And that'll produce energy, and I'm sure they'll produce some energy. Now, whether in the long run that will be an economical way of producing energy is the real question, you see. But that's the experiment they're trying to do. They try to fuse the nuclei of hydrogens into heavier elements.
What advice would you give to a student who is interested in becoming a scientist?
Well, I think advice I would give students is just learn everything you can in all fields. You never know what ideas are going to come together. And science is fascinating and it's good fun, and so I would say enjoy it and learn all you can, but don't hesitate to learn some fields you think may or may not be useful, but learn them and get acquainted with other people, because exchange of ideas between people is very good. And you never know what's going to pay off, and explore the things you find interesting. Explore the things you find interesting. Don't let other people tell you what to do, because frequently the brand new ideas are things that other people won't accept, you see. You've got to think very carefully what you're doing if you're going to have a new idea and work on something. Think very carefully about it, but don't let other people control you. Now, of course, that's after you're doing research. While you're a student, you want to learn everything you can, figure out things and play with things and learn everything you can, learn all ideas and learn all the fields you can. You physicists, and study some biology too. Because biology and physics are going to get together more and more. If you're a biologist, learn some physics. And learn some engineering. So electrical engineering and physics and biology, they can all come together in many interesting ways, and valuable ways.
What field of science do you think will be most exciting in the future?
Oh, well, that's hard to predict. Again, the discoveries of the future we don't foresee now. We don't know them now. But one can certainly see some fields that are fascinating. One of them is astronomy. Where does this dark matter? What is the most of the matter in the universe? What in the world is it? We can find out what it is and maybe find out how to use it. Wow. But I would say biology is fascinating. Biology is getting to be more and more basic. When I was a youngster, I liked biology. I liked plants and animals and identify them. My brother was a biologist, and I sometimes say, well, he was older than I, and he was always a little bit better, and I thought I shouldn't compete with it. But that wasn't really the reason I went into physics. I went into physics because physics was more fundamental. You really figured out things. Biology was descriptive then. You knew the names of plants and animals and see what they were doing. Now, however, biology has become very fundamental. They understand exactly how things work, or you're trying to understand them. To understand biology more and more, that's going to be very important. And basic biology is a fascinating field. It's going to tell us a lot. Eventually, it'll tell us just how we all work. And maybe we'll be, maybe we'll be controlling how people work and how to create new beings. Wow, who knows? What's the origin of life? How did life begin? So biology is a fascinating field, as is astronomy. But there are many other things, basic physics. So I would say, explore the fields you think are interesting and fascinating, you enjoy. Things you enjoy doing are the things you like to do best.